garlic smell? Girish was offended by his remark. When the master was about to leave, Girish spoke. He said, Master, will the smell of garlic go? Will it go? Chidananda replied most affirmatively, yes, it will. Girish had such tremendous shraddha in Master. He said, so you say it will. Chidananda said, all smell disappears when a blazing fire is lighted. We heat the cup of smelling of garlic. You get rid of the smell. It becomes a new cup. You have to heat up. The man who says he will not succeed, he will never succeed. He who feels he is liberated is indeed liberated. And he who feels he is bound verily remains bound. He who forcefully says, I am free, is eternally free, is certainly free. And he who says day and night, I am bound, is certainly bound. So it depends upon how you intensely, actively, vigorously feel. So everything lies in you. Ultimate responsibility is yours. If you don't do it, you are the loser. If you don't go for exam, you are the loser. You won't get master's degree. You have to take the trouble of going and sitting in the exam and writing the papers. It's just like that. So Chidananda would give utmost attention for maintaining vigilance. We are too dull sometimes. Probably we are sometimes deliberately dull. We don't know. A spiritual seeker must always remain vigilant about influences that will lead him astray from his aim of realizing God. The general mass of humanity is a mixed bag, and so each individual will be different from the other. Just as the plant kingdom, there is a mind-boggling diversity, including medical herbs and poisonous plants. Chidananda advised his devotees that it was important to keep those who would be determined to spiritual goal at a distance by projecting a demeanor that puts them off, just as a snake hissed to instill fear in order to save itself from those who would kill it if it did not. So, Chidananda advises us to keep those who would be detrimental to the spiritual goal at a distance. If you know it's a tiger, be at a distance. Don't jump to hug the tiger. Lord Narayana is a tiger also. The tiger Narayana will kill you if you hug. Be at a distance. That wisdom you should develop. There are 4 kinds of people in the world. Chidananda has categorized 4 types. You can find out yourself to which category you belong to. That question is left to you. I won't mention 4 categories. Who are they? Great. The majority caught in the throes of bondage. They belong to first type. They are at the lowest rung of the ladder because they have forgotten their eternal spiritual nature by identifying with their body and its infirmities like disease, old age, and death. How did man fall into this abyss? It is by forgetting his relationship with God. If a person remembers that his bond with the Lord alone is permanent and that he is the father and the mother of all creation, then he will develop the ardent desire to reclaim his original spiritual nature. Just as a child inherits the traits of its parents, a human being, he takes after his creator, and so is divine in nature. The divine potentiality is in every one of us. We inherit that. One must remember this always and affirm one's relationship with God. By asserting that one is a self, Atman, and not the body, one's bond with God will be straightened. And in the process, all worldly attachment will snap up their own account. The next type is the spiritual seeker who aspires for liberation. Mumukshutva, what Shankara says, one is aspiring for liberation. Some are very keen and focused about achieving this goal in this birth itself, while many plod towards this end through several lives. Then there are those who are liberated even at birth, like say Narad and saints who come to the world to spread the divine message. They take birth only to redeem others from bondage. One who has realized God belongs to the last group, Ishvara Koti. Just as an infant sits contentedly in its mother's lap, so also does a self-realized one bask in the security of divine grace without any care in the world. So now Sri Ramakrishna warns. One must be careful about few things. First, an influential man who has much money and many people under his control. You must be careful with such people. He can injure you if he wants. You must be careful while talking to him. Perhaps you may have to approve what he says. Second, a dog. You have to be careful about dog. When it chases you or barks at you, you must not simply run away, you must stand still. Talk to it gently and pacify it. Thirdly, a bull. If it turns after you, if it runs after you with lowered arms, you must calm it with a gentle voice. Next one is a drunkard. If you arouse his anger, he will abuse you, naming 14 generations of your family. You should say to him, "Hello, uncle. How are you?" Then he will be mightily pleased and sit by you and smoke. In the presence of a wicked person, I become alert. If such a person asks me whether I have a pipe for smoking, I say yes, I have. Some people have the nature of a snake. They will bite you without warning. You have to discriminate a great deal in order to avoid the bite. Otherwise your passion will be stirred up to such an extent that you will feel like doing injury in return. You will develop a revengeful attitude, which is hopeless. The companionship of a holy man is generally needed now and then It enables one to discriminate between the real and the unreal. Then Chidananda says, he has said many times and he repeats as many times as possible whenever the occasion comes, and that is this: Maya is nothing but lust and greed. Lust and greed. You know, I don't have to give the example of greed. AIG. How out of greed that destroying the country. Millions of people are suffering, millions. Even government cannot help. That's the most dangerous thing, greed, lobha. Is also most cruel devil. Cruel devil. So, a person living in its midst, in the midst of people who are loaded with lust and greed, such person loses his spiritual awareness. He thinks all is well with him. The scavenger carries a tub of night soil on his head. And in course of time, he loses his repulsion to it. One gradually acquires love of God through the practice of chanting God's name and words. Keep on chanting God's name. Sarveshu kaleshu mamanasma. What direct spiritual instruction Shri Krishna is giving. Sarveshu kaleshu mam manasma. Remember me all the time. Tremendous teaching. It's a commandment. Do it. Ma manusmara. Mayeva mana adhatsva. Fix your mind on me. Man mana. Mad bhakta. Become my devotee. Madhyaji. Worship me. Mam namaskar. Bow down to me. Why he says bow down? To crush your ego. When you are going down, you are going your head down. You are smashing your head on the feet of God. Smash your head. That means ego. Smash your ego there. Ego is a serpent. So, Sri Ramakrishna gives such wonderful spiritual instructions for us. This you will enjoy tremendously if you study life of Sri Ramakrishna, if you know who is Sri Ramakrishna, if you know the advent of Sri Ramakrishna, if you know the purpose of Sri Ramakrishna's advent. That's why I ask you, please read life. Spare some time for reading. Cut some time seeing the TV. Use that time for reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Monitor your utilization of time. Self-monitoring is important. You are the monitor of yourself. If you don't monitor, you are the loser. Uddared atmanatman atmena viparatmana manduratmanatmana. Like that Lord Krishna says. Uddared atmanatman. You have to raise yourself. Your mind is your friend, your mind is your enemy. It becomes your enemy when you go according to the dictates of the mind. It becomes your friend when you control the mind. That's how it is. So, controlling the mind means controlling thoughts. How do you handle your thoughts? How millions of thoughts come to us in our mind? You are not aware of those millions of thoughts coming up because your attention is diverted. Suppose you sit for doing some kind of concentration for 5 minutes, you can gauge in 5 minutes how many thoughts have come across your mind. Then proportionately you multiply it. Mind is full of thoughts. varieties of thoughts, good and bad thoughts, mixed, permutation, combination. You can't count the many thoughts. Please note, every spiritual seeker must have to pass through this current of thoughts. Don't think you're the only person having that kind of attacking thoughts. Everybody has to pass through that. What can you do? As you are in the realm of Maya, you are tied by thoughts, one after the other. They choke your voice. They choke your whole being. You are smashed if you allow the thoughts to overpower you. So before the thoughts overpower you, you should be able to overcome them. There comes the value of your intelligence, buddhi. It's not for nothing buddhi is God has given to you. It's not to keep your buddhi idle and do whatever you want. No. Buddhi is given to use like this. But what we are doing, instead of using buddhi in a proper way, we are making buddhi as a laddi. Buddhi, you have made as laddi. See? That's the way. So learning to think is the first step on the spiritual path. And it is imperative that one begins this by analyzing oneself to trace the root of one's problems and sorrows. The body is an instrument for this purpose. And it does not make demands as long as the basic necessities are provided. One will discover that it is the mind, on the other hand, that is more difficult to handle. One should ask oneself, who creates every emotion or thought that disturbs the mind? There is no external reason for this, as in the case of the body, which becomes sick when a virus infects it. It is the I which creates fear, hatred, misery and anxiety that disturb the mind. It is then imperative to find out why a person allows himself to be perturbed by his emotions. One can see by the example of an individual dining at a restaurant that he prefers the one which offers a choice of menu to the one which offers no choice. The universe offers only suggestions to man. The sun rises every day, but it does not command him to get up or continue sleeping. He has a choice. So also is the case with one's body and mind. The thoughts and emotions that arise in the mind are taken as suggestions, then one is free. But if they are allowed to become commands, then one becomes a slave to them. So awareness of one's response to one's thoughts and emotions and dealing with them so that one reminded of their mastership, he will be able to control. Bhagavad Gita says, attraction and repulsion are rooted in all sense objects. Attraction and repulsion, raga dvesh. If you want to go in spiritual path, get rid of this raga dvesh. Raga dvesha vyuktana. Raga dvesh. Get rid of that. Man should not allow himself to be swayed by them. Because these raga dvesh are the two principal enemies standing in the way of our liberation. The more we go forward, the more they push us backward. That's the way how these act upon. Chidananda said to Jai Gopal, certainly, you have to chant the name of and glories of God and give up worldly thoughts as much as you can. With the greatest effort, you may try to bring water into your field for your crops. But it may all leak out through holes in the ridges. Then all your efforts to bring the water by digging a canal will be futile. So, you will feel restless for God when your heart becomes pure and your mind free from attachment to the things of the world. Then alone will your prayer reach God. A telegraph wire cannot carry messages if it has a break or some other defect. In the olden times, the telegraph wire was used to be like that. Master said to devotees, at Kamarpukur I have seen the mongoose living in its hole up in the wall. It feels stuck there. Sometimes people tie a brick to its tail. Then the pull of the brick makes it come out of its hole. Every time the mongoose tries to be comfortable inside the hole, it has to come out because of the pull of the brick. Such is the effect of brooding on worldly objects that it makes the yogi stray from the path of yoga. So how much careful you should be about worldly thoughts and how tremendously we are careless about this one. One speaks as one thinks. If a person thinks of worldly things day and night, deals with people hypocritically, then his words are colored by his thoughts, just like politicians of nowadays. 99.99% they are hypocritical. If they use 100 words, 99 words are untrue. And you are declaring them as leaders of community. You dance before them. It's a devil's dance. If one eats radish, one belches radish. The other day a man was singing here. The song contained the words like profit and loss. The doctor became angry. He said, stop it. If one contemplates a particular subject day and night, one cannot talk of anything else. Another point Ramakrishna wants to note is the force of destiny. Ramayana is full of pathos and reflects the emotional and psychological effects that human beings undergo under the pressure of events beyond their control. The message goes beyond the fact that such trials in life are prevalent and showcases the many ways to deal with them with equanimity.